Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes.
All right. Tonight I will start by showing you the things you need to do complete this week. So this is the week 15. Is to reach chapter 14. Read this very well, and then do. You have two homeworks, two assignments. One is homework at 13, and the other one is research paper 2. They are both due on Sunday, the 23rd. Okay. Um, having shown you this, we can now begin. Our attention will be focusing tonight on delegation, two things, delegation and job fit. Yeah. We will be looking at delegation and job fit. Yeah. Mm. Now let us, as you can see from the screen, um, as you can see from the screen, it explains what delegation is and why it is important. So according to what we have there, let me make sure that you see it. Okay, you can see this. Good, good, good. According to what we have there, you see that delegation uh, basically means um, dividing work and allocating it to subordinates. So when you divide work and you allocate it to the subordinates to complete the task, then you are delegating duties. So through delegation, a leader is able to divide the work and allocate it to the subordinates. So, which means that a delegating leadership style is a behavior approach that's uh, a behavior approach to leadership, whereby a leader empowers an individual to exercise some kind of autonomy. So employing this approach entails providing the individual with the big picture, the big picture, um, then trusting them to deliver agreed upon results. So we also need to notice other things about delegation, things like that delegation and how to assign work are very important skills that allows the leader to multiply his or her effectiveness. So also successful leadership means picking the right people for the right assignment and developing them, So some leaders tend to micromanage, they want to be to control every part of a project or work. Even the smallest details, the leader is that micromanages have interest in them. But this is not really necessary because it might give enough. It is important to give enough responsibility to employees so that they can acquire skill, grow, and feel that they are accepted. So micromanaging is a style that may not give employees subordinate it may not give enough responsibility to the subordinates or the employees. Okay. So in other words, excuse me. In other words, when leaders, make sure I can see this. Yep, I can see it. In other words, when leaders delegate certain tasks to others, they became free to focus on higher value activities and use their time more productively. So also the delegation not only does it give leaders time for strategic thinking, but it also allowed them to focus on other tasks that only they can perform, such as leading and reaching their teams. Now, I'm going to play a short video, a short clip on delegation, and that will give you a hint on what is this, or how to pay attention to that. The first video I'm going to give you is the I will come to that later. So let's see with effectively that. Okay. Now we now have we look at other things that have to do with delegation. Now with delegation, we'll be looking at the delegation and the lifespan of a business. That's the best way to put it. So now, anybody that is doubting the importance of delegation, anybody that is doubting the importance of delegation, I recommend that the person consider the lifespan of many businesses in America. So many of them are started as 1.5 generations ago. You look at the pattern of such businesses. So they often run like this. A person starts a business and it lasts through his or her working lifetime. Now it takes the successor only half a working generation to put the company out of business. And then the question is why is this? Well, we'll come to that question again. Before we proceed, I would like to play a clip about delegation. It might give us an insight to answering some questions that I already asked about delegation. Okay, so let me play this short clip for you about delegation. Okay, let me put it here. Excuse me. Let's see. Can you hear can you hear the speaker? Hello? Can you hear the sound?
No, isn't it paused?
Okay. When I put it on, can you hear it like now? Can you hear it? When I put it turn it on. Okay, so
no.
I'm gonna share the sound. Just give me 1 minute. Let me share the sound. See what the sound. Okay. All right, let me try it again. How about now? Can you hear it?
Yes.
Good. So let's start from the beginning then. So basically it is explain what this in writing. Excuse me. So the video is explaining the delegation by writing it on the board, on the whiteboard, I believe, so you can see what it is like. The teacher, that the presenter doesn't talk, but he presented everything in writing here. try this one. This one is better. This one is better. I think this should be better.
Monday.com makes Gant's great again. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to say again because they never were. And
yeah, this one is better.
I'm often asked by people, it's one of the most asked questions I get on small businesses. How can I get my business? How can I get people where I can delegate? How do I delegate? How do I delegate? How do I delegate? How do I delegate? And really, you can't even ask that question until you've done a whole lot of preparation and you've got the right people in the right seats to delegate to. Organizations that delegate well are fanatical about a bunch of different things. Hiring and firing, to create an environment and the right kind of people in the seats to be able to delegate to. Compensation, unity, loyalty, communication, recognition. You create a culture, you create an environment inside the organization that is delegatable, that is predictable, that you can follow through on. Delegation is probably one of the most misunderstood and abused areas of leadership. We think we can delegate to someone based on their talent, and that's not it. Talent's part of it. But there's a whole process of going on with this. The process of building a team that concepts can be delegated to is lengthy. You can't just hire someone, sit them in the slot, and delegate to them. You can delegate, make copies, make coffee, but I'm talking about delegating entire business systems and sections to someone. You can't do that without spending some effort and some time on this. Hiring and firing take time to find thoroughbreds and have the courage to get the donkeys out. I tried to mix thoroughbreds and donkeys for a while, and they don't like each other. Donkeys don't like thoroughbreds around because the very presence of a thoroughbred exposes a donkey's donkeyness. Thoroughbreds don't like having donkeys around because, well, they're donkeys. They don't care. They're lazy, they're bullheaded, they're belligerent, and they don't care. Did I mention that they don't care? Thoroughbreds don't want to hang around that. So you get a couple talented people in a stable full of donkeys, they will leave because they don't want to hang out. Thoroughbreds don't want to hang out with donkeys. When we do a thing called 90-day point. Once you've been with us 90 days, we all get in a room and we buy Chick-fil-A wraps and Chick-fil-A whatever, and we all sit around and.
So I'm gonna save this link so that you can watch this later. I will after the lecture tonight, I'm gonna upload this presentation for you so you can watch this video later. Okay, but it's talking about delegation, the effective way of delegating work, and delegation as a leadership tool. Okay, so let's look at those. Okay, look at those. I'll start the delegation as a leadership tool. I went back. This is where we are. Delegation at the lifespan of a business. And I explained before I turned on the video. What am I missing here? We have everybody. Okay. All right, let's see who that. Okay. All right. We have everybody here with us. So delegation as and the lifespan of a business. I mentioned that before we went for the video. I mentioned that if you have doubts as to the importance of delegation, anybody that have that doubt should consider the lifespan of most businesses, whereby after the owner is passed, then the second generation might not be able to run the business and go to bankruptcy. So question is, why is it that a person start a business and then it lasts through his or her lifetime? Now, it takes the successors after he or she is gone, only about half a working generation to put the business or to put the company out of business. Why? The first point that I made here was that, of course, the founder did not intend this result to be the case. So the answer is failure to develop people because of the failure to develop power. So they want to develop people because that would mean that they have to devolve power. They have to lose some of the powers they have. Yeah. And the second one is that by withholding authority the leaders guaranteed that their companies would have short lifespans. And then the next one being that, okay, in 1 minute. Yeah, the next one being that there is actually when a leader is unable and unwilling to develop others through effective delegation. What does it mean? If the leader is unable or unwilling to develop people through to develop others, I mean among these subordinates through effective delegation, it means that no production is made for continuation in that company. So that means the continuation of the business will be in jeopardy. That means when the business goes down, the leader did not train somebody enough to take his position. Yeah. Which this also lead us to another concept about delegation, which is delegation and the lifespan of business. So, according to that concept, if we if we do this, if you have a doubt, I think I have already explained that. I'll give an example. So the real life example I'm going to give you is that of Bill Gates, but we'll be coming to that in a few minutes. But what one line is this: when a business leader is not able to, find a successor or groom a successor, that means the business have no lifespan. It's a matter of time. Also, there are two ways for exerting leadership strength. Two ways. The first one is pushing down through intimidation. Yes, you can push down, you use intimidation to exert leadership, but that is not the best approach. The second approach is to pull up through delegation, which is a good approach. Pulling up through delegation is infinitely more effective than the other type, which is pushing away, pushing down through intimidation. Now, at this point, I'm ready to look at Bill Gates' success, after he learned to delegate. Somebody like Bill Gates, that kind of person can be a micromanager. But eventually, he learned that it is much better for him to be a delegator, somebody who can delegate duties. So if you have doubt as to the importance of delegation, consider the lifespan of most businesses is 1.5 generation. So I've mentioned that already. But for Bill Gates, Bill Gates himself is the co-founder, as you know, the co-founder of Microsoft Corporation. And he is also an IT and software company. The corporation is an IT and software company. So among his many lessons on the type of mindset needed to build a business success is learn to delegate better. So while building Microsoft company, he learned the importance of delegation. So he learned to delegate. That is among his many lessons on the type of mindset is needed to build a business success. So Gates admits delegating didn't come easy to him in the early days of Microsoft. He knew his obsession with programming wasn't sustainable. So if the company was to scale, so he had to continuously trust other people's ability to write software. Unlike their previous thought about him that he might be a micromanager. Even Steve Jobs was called a micromanager. But now experience have made them to know that is not the right way to treat the customers. Okay. So we look at those types of those type of delegation that he mentioned. We're looking at it little by little. But before we go into that, I want to say this, that in one word, Gates has learned to surrender. Yes, he has learned to surrender, by by delegating duty that way. You have to surrender, give out, relinquish some power, give some independence to people who work for you. So as Microsoft grew, so did the Gates management, and so on and so forth. Any question before I continue, Super? Any question?
No questions.
Okay, good. So now, since you don't ask me, I will now ask, why do some leaders don't delegate? Well, there are many reasons to that. I'm sure that there are many reasons that leaders fail to delegate. Some do not know how to delegate. So many of them don't know how to delegate. They used to be in control of every aspect. I mean that might work in a home, in a private home, but for corporation, even a private home, as a matter of fact, will not even work because people still need that freedom. So anyway, this is where it happens in the pot. So some leaders don't know how to delegate really, and others do not think their employees will do the job as well as with the whether they will do the job as well as the leader himself or herself. So they don't trust that their employees might be able to do that job, by themselves. They feel that if they're not in charge, something might go wrong, that kind of leadership that we have. So we have that other leaders do not trust their employees to follow through. So they don't trust their employees to follow through with the job. And still others fail to delegate because they fear their employees will show them up by doing a better job. So regardless of the case that the reason they use, failure to delegate should be corrected, and there's many reasons for the question that Ike is, should be, that they to encourage leaders to do more delegation. Let me put it that way. Yeah. To encourage them to do more delegation. So regardless of the cost anyway, failure to delegate might lead to something that you may not even have in fact, it might even wear the leader down, might even wear him or her down. So that we have this. I would say there's some substance of what I'm trying to say here is that whatever, regardless of the cost, whether the leaders don't know how to delegate, whether it is the reason, or whether it is that they do not think that employees will do the job very well if they delegate, if they give them that power, or if they don't trust that their employees will follow through, or even the worst case scenario whereby some leaders fail to delegate because they fear their employees will show them, up by doing a better job. Regardless, for whatever reason it is that made them not to delegate, or to made them to be micromanagers, regardless of any of these reasons, failure to delegate should be corrected for two important reasons. The first one is that delegation gives the leader time to carry out important responsibilities in the areas of establishing direction, aligning resources, and energizing people. So that's the first one. The second one is that delegation helps prepare employees for more difficult tasks and additional responsibility. So which means that employees who are bored and underused can often come alive when important jobs are delegated to them. So it is very good for employees not only mental health and job performance. I'll put it that way. So at this point, we are going to look at some of the ways we do the delegation exercise, the right way to do it, or the right steps and rules that we must follow when we are making delegation to make sure that our exercise is effective. So that is the first one. I'll make it this bigger. Make it a little bit bigger. You can see the delegation here. So steps, see, select the person for the task, define the task that the person as you is empowered to do, and then of course among other things, you can also gain the person's views about the task at hand, then give authority and resources to the person to perform the task. Then as he or she is doing performing the task, you can now use checkpoints to review the progress, and then hold them accountable if they didn't, they do something, they went astray. I'll put it that way, or they didn't deliver the way you want. So you can hold them to account, and then, if possible, give them a second chance. But when they deliver the results, you reward them, maybe through promotion and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, will this bring us to the next thing we want to focus on? Let me remove this. Okay, I'll make it a little bit. Okay. So this brings us to what we call assigning work effectively. It's part of delegation exercise. Assigning work effectively. Okay. Let's make sure I have it in. Good. Now, as you know, assigning work effectively is one of the most important skills that successfully that you have. So, which means that as a leader, delegating is important, because you just can't and shouldn't do everything by yourself. You should not do everything by yourself as by yourself, everything. That means it is human nature. It is just human nature. There are just something that you can handle better as a leader. But there's one that it is much, much better for you to let the subordinates handle those. Okay? And then that's why it is assigning work effectively is one of the most important skills. So because when you assign the work, you give the person a chance, the way to do the job. That means you have delegated that job to him or to her. Okay. So, and for leaders especially, we have that as for leaders, it helps to delegating empowers your team. Yeah, delegating empowers your team, build trust, and assist with professional development. So that's what you can see. And as for leaders, it helps you to learn how to identify who is best suited to tackle the task or the project. Okay. So that means that it also means that while doing delegation of jobs, while doing it, you are also at the same time empowering your team. You are at the same time building trust. You are at the same time assisting them with professional development. Now, I will show you a few steps, a few tips to help you delegate effectively. Okay, so that your team shares the workload and makes progress that benefits everyone. The first tip is choosing the right person for the job. Okay, very, very important that choosing the right person for the job. So part of being a good leader is understanding your employees' strengths, weaknesses, and preferences. For example, if you want to, if you need to delegate a task that is going to require a lot of collaboration to complete, then don't delegate it to someone who very strongly prefers working alone. So you have to give it to somebody who wants that kind of job, not somebody who prefers to work alone. So delegate it to somebody who prefers collaborating. Okay. So that's one example. So choose the right person for the job. Make sure that you choose the person that like that kind of job to give the job or the duty. So the next one will be explain why you are delegating. It's very important to explain why you are delegating. So if you are delegating a task to someone out of the blue, it really helps you. It really helps when you provide the context for why you are giving them that responsibility. Very, very important. So help them see each delegated task as an opportunity to take on more responsibilities or grow new skills. Okay. Okay. Now the third one is provide the right instructions. Very, very important. Provide the right instructions when you delegate. So you have to make sure that the employee tasked with a job or project has the tools and resources they need to be successful. So that's why it is important to make sure that when you delegate a task, the person has the tools and the skills they need to complete the task, or provide a way for them to work on those tools. Yeah. So which brings us to the next thing, which is the fourth tip, which is provide resources and training. Very, very important. You have to make sure that the person tasked with a job or project has the tools and resources they need to be successful. You need to make sure that they have it. Okay. So that means that it is also important to make sure that when you delegate a task, the person has the tools and skills that they need to complete the task, or you provide a way for them to work on those skills. You know, either you give them or you make sure you provide them the way for them to work on those skills. And the fifth tip is to delegate responsibility and authority. So, as a leader or as a manager who fail to delegate responsibility, and let me put it this way: leaders and managers who fail to delegate responsibility in addition to specific tasks, they eventually find themselves reporting to their subordinates or doing some of the work instead of doing some of the work instead of the vice of the student doing it. Of the employees doing it. So that's why it is important to foster an environment and culture where people feel they are able to make decisions, ask questions and take necessary steps when it comes to completing the job at hand. Okay. Now the sixth, last step would be check the work. You see, check the work and provide feedback. Yep, employees like feedback, especially the positive one. So when they did a good job, you give them good feedback. Okay. So check the work. Check the work you delegated to that employee. Then when it is complete, then make sure that they did it correctly and give them any feedback that they need to improve when handling the task going forward. So that feedback will give them, if it will tell them where they are not doing well and where they are doing well, and they can now factor it in to in the future or in other work, because they might not stay with you forever. Eventually, they might decide to change jobs, so they can go with that skill acquired. Then number 7 which is the last one, say thank you. This is so simple that people tend to ignore it, but it's not simple. When someone completes a task or project you delegated, show him Show genuine appreciation that, and point out the specific things they did right or well. So in other words, regardless of whether they did it right or wrong, so long as they completed the tasks, the first thing you do when they complete the task or this project is to be delegated to them is to show genuine appreciation and point out specific things they did right or well. So when you make a note of those specifics, okay, you are doing people's roadmap. So for what they should continue to do to be successful. But the bottom line is that simple thank you is a lot, especially when their outcome they achieved something that is significant. So this is the simplest step, but one of the hardest for many to learn. All these things that I mentioned here. So it will inspire loyalty, provides great satisfaction for work done, and become the basis for mentoring and performance reviews. So again, one more time, I'm going to ask you again, does anybody have a question? Any question?
No. No questions.
So I'm going to we have only less than 2 minutes now to achieve much time. So I'm going to time us out now. Just wait for 10 minutes and log back in so we can finish up, okay? All right?
Okay.
So I see you back here in 10 minutes time.
Okay. All right.
All right.